Well, I think it's just something that I've done all of my life. Um, I've always enjoyed reading and learning. I was one of those crazy people who loved summer because you could go to summer school, so you would have both summer and school. And isn't that great? Um, Most people thought I was crazy, but oh well. um, but I also, at various points in time, recognized that it was really very important to understand what did success look like to me, and then try to ensure you're in a situation, whether it be school, whether it be work, whether it be friendships, that your definition of success is aligned with those other parties. Because if they're not aligned, it's a very unhappy place to be. You either feel personally that you're being successful and everybody else thinks you're failing, or everybody else thinks you're being successful and you feel like you're failing. And that is not a good place to be. And one has to think carefully about what are the things that are most important? What are the things that are nice to haves and kind of negotiables? And what are the non-negotiables? Nope, not going there. And that's going to be different for every person. And by doing that thinking, then I was able to either find places or create spaces where I could live out that definition of success, and it worked for me and it worked for the organization.
It sounds like you were paying attention to that definition of success early on, maybe in elementary school even?
Yes, certainly by the time I got to what is sometimes called middle school or junior high, I was already starting to think that way, and you know, this is who I am. I've always known I was a geek. I love math, I love science, I love history, and if that meant I wasn't going to be popular in school, that meant I wasn't going to be popular in school. But you know, expressing my passion around math and science and technology was a whole lot more important to me than being popular in high school.
That's an amazing amount of insight into yourself and comfort with who you are at a really early age. What helps you have that?
I think a lot of it comes down to my parents. I was raised on a seminary. My father was, when I was born, a professor of canon law at a theological seminary for the Episcopal Church. My mother was trained as a social worker. She had a master's in social work. She was a voracious reader, and I'm sure that's where my love of reading comes from. We would go to the library every week, and she would come back with this huge stack of books and have read them by the time we went back to the library the next week. But I think one of the important things was they instilled in all of us this sense that if we worked hard and we really tried, that we could do what we wanted to do. Even though I'm sure some people would think, oh, you know, you were raised in a religious family, therefore, you know, you were told that, you know, girls are too stupid to do math or anything like that. And we had nothing like that. They always encouraged us to pursue whatever we thought was important. And I think having that breadth, my brother's a fisheries biologist, my sister is a medical doctor, and I'm the geek in the family. 3 very, very different career paths, and all of that was fine.
you and I had a very similar upbringing. My dad was a pastor in United Methodist Church. My mom double majored in math and psychology, graduating in 3 years. And we were also raised as voracious readers. I remember my mom reading Lord of the Rings to my sister and I when I was like 5.
Wow.
And I was the one bringing home the stacks of books and getting through them every other week. I think, my mom maybe was occupied taking care of us and not as much time reading. Getting through all of junior high, senior high to college unscathed by being so different must have helped you, given you a really different perspective to all the other kids starting careers early in their careers. How did that show up for you, and what was it like for you?
Well, I think one thing that really helped, as in my intro, I'm not going to give you, a number about, when I started in technology, although I started learning to program when I was 13 years old. And as a woman in technology, it has not been easy. But, I think being so clear on the fact that, I am a geek. I cannot imagine not being involved in technology. It's so counter to who I am. And I think having that comfort meant that I wasn't going to let anybody, tell me otherwise. I had a university professor in my second semester at university who told me that women were incapable of understanding math and computer science. And the 3 other women and I got together and decided we were going to prove him to be the idiot that we knew he was. And all 4 of us got A's. Funny how some of the men actually had to drop out because they weren't doing very well. And so, that was just, okay, well, I know you don't know what you're talking about. And so I think having those experiences early also then, allowed me to do some experiments. I had my computer science degree was in some ways almost a business degree, even though it came out of the College of Arts and Sciences, because I had to take 2 semesters of economics and 1 of marketing and 1 of just traditional business administration. And I fell in love with economics, and so I decided, okay, well, I've got this group of electives, that's what they're called, and so I got a degree in economics as well, just because I loved it. Now, not surprisingly, it was very mathematically focused. My favorite classes were, regression and mathematical economics, but when I saw something that I really liked, okay, well, let's go for it.
How has that background that's both very similar to what a lot of computer geeks have had, and also very different with the breadth of expertise, not very focused on just the CS piece. How have you noticed that's made a difference in how you perceive what's going on in the teams that you've been on versus what other people seem to be understanding?
I think it comes down to having broader perspective. And I had someone relatively early in my career, probably my 3rd or 4th year out of university, who was an exceptional manager. And he really, he really helped galvanize how I thought about teams. He said, in a very real way, I work for you. My job is to make sure that you have everything that you need to do your job well. And so if you're not doing your job well, that's partially on me. And we need to figure out what kind of support you need to do your job well. And so, thinking about it that way and understanding that individuals have their own strengths, weaknesses, biases, perspectives, spots, I think having that breadth of interest and expertise gave me more of a chance to connect with people that I might not always connect with. I mean, it always seemed natural to me, for example, when I was talking to a business stakeholder, to talk in the language of the business. I might think this technology is really cool and shiny and all of this, but he doesn't care about that. He cares about business value. He cares about business risk. He wants to understand, the cost-benefit trade-off for those things. And how shiny the technology is doesn't enter into that equation. It just doesn't. And I never understood why that was so difficult for some of my colleagues to understand.